Okay, how was your week? Did you start school already?
Yes.
I start tomorrow. Okay. All right. So remember that I told you what I wanted. One of the things that I wanted you to do to start, so I can understand what you're doing, is for both of you to tell me about the presentation that you're gonna do at the competition. Okay. So what I want you to do is take a couple of minutes. So I want you to, what I'm going to ask you to do is to stand up and, like if we were in a real presentation, I want you to tell me what your topic, what's the title, right, of the presentation. So this is to practice, to start thinking about how you talk to the people at the presentation. What are we doing? What we're doing is a presentation on whatever it is. What are you going to learn? Meaning, what is me, because I'm your audience, what am I going to learn from you when you do this presentation? And then what I want you to tell me is how I'm going to learn. So think about it this way. So there's two of you, right? So you have to both talk about it. So let's say there's going to be 5 sentences, 5 things you're going to say. Hi, the topic of our presentation is robot something, right? Then what you're going to learn from us is this. How you're going to learn is that we're going to show you 3 things. You talk about the first thing, you talk about the second thing, and you talk about the third thing. Okay? So what I want you to do is the two of you talk about it for 2 minutes, because you probably know everything already.
Teacher, today I don't have a script yet.
No, I don't want you to have a script. That's fine. I want you to just, I mean, you're finished with your, you already made your
not finished.
so it's not finished.
Maybe this week.
Okay, so tell me what your presentation will be based on what you know now. It doesn't need to be a script, right? I don't need to know exactly what it will be when you finish. I just want to get an idea of what it is. Okay? So do it as if you were already finished, and you are gonna say, one of you, whoever starts, our presentation is, the title is, if you don't have a title, think about one now. You can change it doesn't matter, right? And then what you're going to learn, the audience, me, from the presentation is whatever. And then how you're going to learn, we're going to show you 1 thing or 3 things, depending on what your presentation maybe is going to look like. Maybe it's going to be 3 parts, right? You think? Or 4 parts, or you don't know yet?
I don't know yet. Because I'm team leader, so in my team have a builder. He knows everything.
Okay, so again, talk about it to the audience based on what you already know. Okay? So you don't have to say it's not finished. Just talk as if it based on what you know. So the title, what the audience is gonna learn, and then maybe you can talk about 2. We're gonna show you 2 things. 1, 2, that you talk. Okay, so talk about it with each other, 2 minutes, and you can write something down if you want, but you don't need a script, because it's not a presentation. I want you to just talk. in the same way that I'm talking right now. I don't have a script. I'm just talking about what I would like you to do. So I want you to talk rather than read a script, because one of the things that we'll talk about later as you prepare, when you read a script, especially if you sound like you're reading. So you can always have a script with you, but you use it to talk to people, and then if you need to forgot something, you can go back and look. But instead of reading, what you want to do is talk to people. Talk to them, because they'll remember you talking. Blah 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 blah. Huh? Yeah, they won't remember that. They'll remember you and what you're saying. Okay? So 2 minutes. Don't get stressed, because there's no grade. I just want to learn what your project is about. That's all.
Teacher, I have a slide. Always you have a slide.
But today I don't want you to use the slide.
I will show.
I mean, you can. You want to show me later? Okay.
First, I enter the first day challenge, so I show you what is first.
Oh, okay.
Oops.
Oops.
This is our logo and
Okay. Oh, is that your team?
yeah.
Cool.
This one.
The yellow one. Okay. When I was in school, we didn't have that, but that was a long time ago, before the age of computers. Cool.
And the main point of first take is gracious professionalism.
The
main point of first take challenge. This one.
Okay.
Maybe I can open it. This is last year.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it climbs?
And this is our last year.
From last year's competition? So, okay. So, in what you're gonna say now, like, explain what gracious professionalism is. Like, one of you so let's say, remember, the title of your presentation, okay? The toaster robot, or whatever the robot is, whatever you're gonna call it, we're gonna talk about later when you give a title to a presentation. You wanna give it something that people are gonna remember. Like, you don't wanna say, oh, title is a robot that can make toast. But maybe supercomputer toaster, right? Like that one you're gonna remember, but the robot that made toast. I mean, yeah, it's what it does, but boring, right? So think about title what I'm going to learn. Now, the theme that you're saying that the theme of the competition is, what was it? Gracious professionalism.
But the theme is this one, first stage.
So that's the theme.
Yes.
Okay. So start in what we're gonna do now. Start by saying, of course, you introduce yourself. I am, and you say, you know, we are going to compete in. We're going to be part of a competition. The theme of this competition is first stage. What does that mean? I don't know what it means, so you have to tell me, right? Because remember, don't think of me or the audience as your teachers or people that are giving you a grade. Everybody who's there wants to learn from you because you're the ones that know about, I don't know, these things. I don't know anything. So I can't tell you, I can't sit there and go, oh, that's right. Oh, that's not right. I don't know, right? So it's you are the ones that know. So you start by saying, this is the competition, and then you say, our the title of our presentation will be da 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 da, and it's about whatever. Okay, and then you're gonna say what you will learn from us is something about the thing, and then what I want you to do just for today is two things, two ways that you in your, since it's the presentation is not finished, but as you're planning, as you're thinking about it right now, two ways you're gonna show the audience two things about the project, and two two ways that they're gonna learn about what you're telling them, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be complete. It is just what you're thinking about today, okay? Because remember, it's not for a grade. It's because I want to know what it is. But I also want you to start practicing talking to somebody else other than yourselves and to your team, to talk to people that are not in your team about what the presentation is going to be about. Okay? So relax. It's not a grade. I want to learn from you, and then I want you to practice so you can get comfortable when you're in front of people explaining your stuff. Okay? So take 2 minutes, talk about, decide how you're gonna do it, and then you're gonna get up. You know, they are recording our class today, so you can get up, stand up, I don't know, here or something, and just talk. And it'll be, probably 5 minutes total, like between the two of you. Okay? So 2 minutes, think about what you're gonna say. This is like the hard part, but if you get used to doing this, it's like when you're doing a presentation and somebody asks you a question. Like you don't know what they're gonna ask you, and then when they answer you, well, you have to think to try to answer it to the best of what you can say. And here is similar, so this doesn't have to be perfect. Okay? 2 minutes.
First stage. pick up the ball อะเก็บลูกบอลก็สวัสดีแบบเราทีมคันเดอร์โบอะก็ pick up the ball and shoot into the goal เอ้ยเอาเวอร์บอลตอมเชื่อตอมเชื่อ พูดง่ายๆที่จะอธิบายว่ามันตั้งแข่งมาเลยบ้างแล้วก็เดี๋ยวมีกีฬา
ต้องมีอีสเดี๋ยวดูก่อนเอ็ม
แล้วก็
Ready?
อ่า
No? Okay.
ที่บอกว่าตั้งแข่งมี2 นาที 1 นาที โอเคright.
Ready? Now I'm gonna write something so you remember what you're doing.
PT gue pas-pasan deh. Iya, video gue nani deh. Oh, iya.
ตั้งค่ายมันมีแอปพลิ
Gue jim.
Okay. So this is what we just talked about. It's just so you, in case you need to see it, to remember. So, hi, we're part of a competition. The theme of the, what was the theme of the competition? First generation, or no, first stage. So, this is the theme, I don't know what it means. Right? And then you're gonna talk about the title or the name of your project. So you can say something like, the title of our project is Super Toaster Computer. And it's a project that we made, that we worked on to make a better toaster. Okay? Or to make a better computer, whatever, right? And then you're gonna tell the audience what it is that after we listen to the presentation, what are we gonna learn about this project that you made? And then what I want you to do is you can tell the audience, you're gonna learn about this, whatever it is that you're gonna learn about it in two ways. One way is that we're gonna show you, and then the second way is this other way, okay? All right, ready?
Can I open this one? So I can see it.
Yeah, you can. So what part of the reason that I want you to do it like this, not having prepared it at home, is so you don't have a script, because I want you to get used to talking as opposed to reading. Reading is easy. Talking is the hard part, and most of what you do when you go to university, if you become a scientist and you go to a presentation, is not read, is talk, right? When somebody asks you a question, you're gonna talk to them without having the answer to the question. So I want you to get a little bit comfortable with talking. When you do your presentation, of course, you're gonna be able to prepare a script and have it. And if you are nervous, if you forget something, you can always read. But one of the things that I'm gonna try to help you do is, even though you have a script, because you know this anyway better than anybody else. Okay? Alright. One. Okay, so you have to do it formal to start, okay?
Huh?
You can hold the paper. It's fine.
What the team condition is เรื่องทีมที่พูดเนี่ยเขาต้องพูด first aid แล้วก็ decode.
Okay? So who is going to do number one?
Me.
Okay. Two, right? So you're gonna tell us what the project is. 3, 4, 5. So when you start, right now, just start by introducing yourself and just say, I am I am in M3, right? At blah 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 school. When you go to start number 2, before you actually tell us that, I'm in M1, right?
Yes.
And I'm at school, blah 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 blah. And then you go to that. And then of course after that you don't do that again. Right? Action!
Hello, we enter the first stage challenge competition. So the team is decode, and the first team is the first stage. So the first competition have 3 parts: is FRC, FTC, and FLL. So we enter the FTC.
Okay.
We are from Team Thunderbolt. Our robot name is Atom.
I don't know who you are.
Oh.
Okay. Go to your part, but tell me who you are.
My name is Baitong, and we are from Team Thunderbolt. Our robot name is Atom, and the robot will keep the ball and shoot the ball into the goal.
Yes, so in the competition we have 3 parts. First is autonomous, tele-op, and in-game. So the first is autonomous. The robot have to keep the ball, this is artifacts, and shoot into the goal.
Okay.
So the ball will drop and into the classifier.
Okay.
It earns 3 points. Yeah. And in the tele-op, human player have to control the robot to shoot the ball.
Okay.
And in the end game, we have to go to the base, and the robot will go to based and in game. That is it. So if we shoot the ball into the goal, we earn 3 points, and if we go to the base, 10 points. And our robot have 3 parts, so the base, the intake, and the shooter.
Was that number 2? No, that was number 3. Or number 4. Okay, it's okay. So, that was number 4 probably, right?
Yeah.
So, go back and say, what do you think? So, think about it this way. What did you learn by doing the robot, by making the robot and doing all these things that it's going to do? What you learn is the same thing that the audience is going to learn from you. So what you have to say is, well, what we learned by doing this is, I don't know, that it's really difficult to do this, or that it's complex, or that we discovered an easier way to do this. Whatever it is you think you are learning from doing it. So give it a try. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think the audience, so me, right? What am I going to learn from listening to your presentation?
So
Her turn. You can consult, but her turn to talk.
ได้รู้เกี่ยวกับ mechanic in robot mechanical อ่ะ the audience will learn the mechanical in the robot.
The audience is
Will learn the mechanical in the robot. Will learn the mechanical.
the audience
Will.
learn the mechanical in the robot.
Okay. That's good. It's good because it was 2 minutes planned. You didn't have a chance to think about it too much, and it's fine. Don't forget to introduce yourself. Okay, and it was you had a nice way of explaining what the competition is about, right? And then the parts of the competition. And you talked about the name of the project. If you were doing this as part of your presentation, you talked about, I don't know, a bunch of abbreviations like FC, like, I don't know what those are. So if you were doing that, you would have to say, oh, the first part of this is blah. This means blah, 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 blah. Think of your parents. They're going to know this. So think of that you're basically teachers and you're so you have to think, oh, they don't know anything. So I have to explain this first abbreviation. What is it? It means this, and then it refers to this idea. Okay? So you don't have to worry about it now, but I just want you to think that you are teaching people who don't know anything. And the best way to think about it is think that you're teaching, not even your parents, your grandparents. Because they probably know less about computers. Okay? So you think about them and what you have to say so they understand. Because you know it already. You don't have to think about it too much. Alright, good. Alright. That's fine. You did good. I mean, you have to, it's part of getting used to. You're gonna do later on in a little bit. Another impromptu thing. Okay, so what we're gonna talk about today, and now, did you bring your, okay. So, in case you didn't, when you come every week, when you come every week, what I want you to do before you come to class is, in this handout that I give you, they're exercises that you're gonna do, but there are also things like this that are information. There are some of these boxes, so this is information, exercise, blah blah blah. Information. What I want you to do, so for next time, we probably are not gonna finish this. So what I want you to do is to go back and make sure you read the boxes with the information. Some of it we're gonna talk about today. Some of it we may not finish today. When I give you the next handout, it's gonna be, so it's important for you to read it before you come to class. And then when you read it and you have questions about words that you don't understand, I want you to circle them so that when you and look them up. Look them up not in Google Translate, but look them up using a dictionary. Okay? Because when you look up something on Google Translate, all it does is it does it for you. I want you to go. You can find what you should do that is the better thing for you to practice your English and to learn more words is to use an English dictionary and then to look up that word. Because then when you look at a dictionary, it's going to tell you what that word means in other words that you're probably going to understand. Okay? So, and then, I'm going to ask you for next time to do some of the exercises. All right? So just make sure that every week you look at this. All right? So we talked about the presentation, and the presentation is the introduction, the body, right? The main things that you're going to talk about, and then the conclusion. The first part of the introduction is what is called the opening. And it's something that you have to do every time you start a presentation. So like when you stand up, the first thing that I ask you to do is, remember what's the first thing before you even said that? What did you have to do?
Introduce.
Yeah. Why do you have to introduce yourself?
Because somebody,
Because nobody knows you. I mean, okay, your teammates know you and your teachers, but everybody else and your parents. But everybody else in that audience doesn't know you. So you have to start by introducing yourself. The opening of the presentation, to remember the parts, so there are 4 parts to the presentation, okay, to the opening. And the way to remember is by remembering this acronym. An acronym is a series of letters, all of which help you remember the meaning of what you're doing. So here, when we're talking about the opening, we talk about whys. Welcome, introduce yourself, say what your topic is, and why your topic is important, right? So, in what you did a little bit ago, you started by introducing yourself. I didn't tell you to do welcome, but when you start your presentation, you have to welcome people, right? And why do you have to welcome people, do you think? Why do you think that if you're given a presentation, you have to welcome them? You have to say, thank you for coming. I'm glad that many of you are here. Why do you think it's important to say that? Guess. Guess. Don't worry about being right or wrong. Why do you think it's important? Think about it this way. Do people who are at your presentation, do they have to come to your presentation?
No.
Right? So we always start by saying, thank you for coming. When you're in school, do your teachers, other than the first day of class, the beginning of the semester. That's the only time they say welcome, right? Do they say welcome the rest of the time? No. Why? Because you have to be in school. You have it's not a choice. But when you are going to a competition to do a presentation on a competition, the people that are coming there because they want to come there, because they want to learn something from you, and usually it will be people, you know, that have other jobs and that are taking time from whatever other many things they have to do to come to hear you and to learn from you. So it's really important to just be polite and just welcome them and thank them for being there, okay? Because without people being there, who are you going to present to?
No.
It's just going to be you standing there looking at chairs with no people in them, right? So you want to present them, welcome them. The next thing is, so welcome. The next thing is the introduction, introducing yourself. And in your case, because you're in a competition, first thing is, of course, your name. So I think you have to, or you should, actually give your full name, so your name and your surname, right? And again, in a competition, you want to tell the audience what team. So I think you said it, or you said it, the team that you're a part of, right? Because this is a team competition. The school that the team is part of. You said you're the captain or the right. So when you introduce yourself, you introduce your role. I'm the leader. I'm the captain. I'm the second assistant. Whatever structure the group has, the people who are speaking, it's probably a good idea to say, I am the leader of the team, and then when you say I am the supervisor, I don't know, whatever roles you have, and then you say, our team consists of 10 members. You probably don't have time to give the names, but you wanna let them know that you're part of a team working together, because you know that, but maybe they don't know that, right? Because if you're the only ones talking, I'm just gonna say, well, they're the ones that did all this, but you're part of a larger team. Okay? So you introduce yourself, your school, and for you, why is it important to say what school you're in and what year you're in, and 1 and 2 and 3? It's important because maybe there's somebody there from, I don't know, Chiang Mai University, robotics department, and they think that your presentation is really interesting, and they say, oh yes, I remember her, but I don't know what school she's at. Oh, I don't know what year she is, right? So you want to introduce yourself because it's good for them to know you and your team and your year, so they can go, so if the person from the robotics department at Chiang Mai University says, oh, this is a really interesting project that this group did. Oh, I have to keep them in mind because they probably want to come to study here. I want to make sure that they get here. Okay? So the introduction, you introduce yourself. The next thing is the S, and it's saying what your topic is. Many times people start presentations and they just start talking without saying what it is that they're going to present. So like when you went, you said our presentation is, this is the title, and then in the presentation, when you actually do it, you might actually say, the title of the presentation is this, and what this presentation is about is, like you said, the robot that has to climb and shoot, and so you explain a little bit of what it is. And then the last part is relevance. Do you know what this word means? Relevance? Relevance is, of all these words, is the most important one. Relevance means why is what you're going to say is important, right? People are going to come listen to you. They're going to learn something, but you want to tell them, why is this important? Why? So this is about robotics, right?
Yeah.
So assume for the moment that there are a lot of people in the audience, and I think you told me that your presentation is going to be at a booth, right? And people are going to come, right? Now, most of those people, I think, will be interested in robotics, right? So you have to say, why is what we're gonna teach you about, or you're gonna learn from us, is relevant in your study of robotics because, right? Because maybe you learn some, like you said, you learned something about some of the mechanics, some interesting aspect of the mechanics of the robot that you learned about when you were doing this, that you didn't know before. So you have to tell people, you have to welcome them, you have to introduce yourself, you have to tell them what it is that your presentation is about, but you have to tell them why it's important, why they should listen to you, right? Otherwise, okay? So this is in any presentation that you will do for the rest of your life. When you go to high school, when you go to university, when you become engineers, and you're going to a conference to show your work, this is always what you're going to do, okay? All right. So one of the things when we're doing conferences is the type of language that we use. So do you know what formal and informal means? So formal. So let me ask you: when you were doing your practice earlier, do you think that was formal or informal?
Informal.
Yeah, it's informal, right? It's not. I said, relax. You don't have to say. If you think about the whys flow, yeah, you introduce yourself, but you didn't do this. You didn't really do this, right? Because it was a practice. It was informal. The language that you use, the words that you choose, were informal. Like you could have started and said, "Hi, my name is." We're gonna be in this competition, right? Hi is not a particularly formal way of saying, okay. You could say hello, which is also a little bit more formal, but if you're giving a presentation, if you want to be really formal, you say welcome, right? So there are words that you can use for your presentation. Sometimes your presentations are informal, like what we're doing in class. Like it's informal. When you're in class at school, your teachers are generally more informal than formal. But when you go to a public lecture or to a talk at the university or wherever, they tend to be more like this. Okay? And the difference between these two is about the words that you choose, and also it's important about how you think about the people that you're talking to, right? If you're giving a conference, if you're, like I said before, if you're at your presentation, do you know most of those people?
Maybe about 10 or
maybe 10,
20.
right? And there's 150 people there. You don't know that. You don't know the other 140, so you have to talk to them in a more formal way because they're not your friends. They're not your teacher. They're just people that don't know you. So you have to present yourself in a more formal way. We might say in a more professional way. Why? Because the way that you present yourself and you talk to people, if you talk to them formally and serious, they take you more serious. They'll say, "Oh, these two, they know what they're talking about. I'm gonna learn something interesting then." But if you're just saying, "Hey, dude, how you doing, bro?" They're gonna go, "Huh?" Especially people who are older. Again, think of your grandparents. Okay? Do you talk to your grandparents using bro?
No.
No, because yeah, they're not gonna be happy, right? Right?
Yeah.
So think about that because they're not gonna so in a presentation, again, depending how it is, you can use different languages. When we're talking right now, it's very formal, right? But if the first day, last week when we met for the first time, it was a little bit more like this. But now I know you. You know me. We don't need to be so serious, right? Okay? All right. So, again, the differences is one of the differences when you're talking formally is less personal. It's not about like, hey dude, hey bro. It's more sir, madam, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my talk, right? It's not, yo, good, you're here, right? Um, it's it's similar when you write. When we write in English and actually in every language, you always write more formally, right? So it's similar to writing. So if you're writing a script, you want to keep in mind that what the language that you want to have is a formal one. Okay. It doesn't use colloquialisms. That's a word that means something like you don't use bro in your presentation. You don't use for your age, I think bro is more common. For me, dude. That's like so it's no bros, no dude, no hey you, no none of this. Okay. You try not to use contractions, right? So contractions are short form. So in formal language, when you're talking, better to say I am than am. Better to say it is than it's, right? It's something that you try to do. If you are talking in front of the group and you forget about it and you say am, okay, nothing's gonna happen really. But it's just what you try to do. Informal language is the opposite. It's the one that's more casual, is more spontaneous, meaning that it's unplanned. One difference between formal and informal, this is an important difference. When you're doing your stuff up here, it was spontaneous. You didn't have time to plan. You had 2 minutes. If I had given you homework and I said, I want you to do 5-minute presentation on this, where you had 1 week to plan it, you're not going to be that spontaneous, and the expectations are different, right? So spontaneous is when you do something that it's kind of unplanned, and I want to say, because you're doing it without planning it, sometimes you might not say, you might accidentally say, dude, this robot does this, right? Because it's unplanned, right? I mean, informal language, all of us use it. When we're talking to our friends, we're always using this language. We don't say, sir, welcome to my home. Or as I used to tell to my students in my classes, when my friends come in the US, when they come visit me, and they say, "Can I have some water?" I'm like, "The fridge is over there. You can go get it," right? Because we're friends. Right? They don't. I mean, now if somebody who I don't know comes into my house and say, "May I have some water?" I'm like, "Okay, yes, we will get it for you." Friends, friends. You don't have to be so nice to your friends. That's what we say. All right. So it's the same thing when you're writing emails or text messages. If you think about how you write text messages, all these abbreviations, right? Not when you're writing formal emails. Not when you're talking. So it's a good idea to keep the difference between the two in mind, right? And probably the biggest thing is tone. How we talk to our friends. Very chill, very relaxed. How you talk to your teachers, a little more formal. How you talk to a stranger that you don't know, very formal. Hi, how are you, sir? Okay, all right. So this is part of what we're gonna do, or you're gonna do with these exercises. You're gonna hear different types of presentation and different types of formal versus informal. Okay. All right, so welcoming the ocean, the audience, the ocean, the audience. So, like I said, why do you welcome them? Because they don't have to be there. So you have to make them feel like they're welcome. You want them to feel like you're thinking about them. Remember what I said when you were doing your practice at the beginning? When you're given a presentation, it's not about you, it's about what you're teaching the audience. So you have to constantly think about them, and you start by making them feel like you want them to be there. Okay? So you want them to be there, and that you're grateful, that you're thankful that they're there. So, in more formal language, when you welcome your audience, you might say, "Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen." Not "Good morning, dudes," right? Formal. Welcome, or you might say, before you say anything, sometimes people will say, "First of all, let me thank you for coming here today." Or, "First of all, let me thank you for taking time from your busy schedules to come listen to my talk." So you want the audience to feel that you really, really want them to be there. You might also say, "I'm delighted that so many of you could attend," right? Because people are busy, so they can't always come, right? So these are formal ways. You're gonna find them throughout these exercises. This is formal language that you use to welcome your audience. When you introduce yourself, this is actually probably the hardest part, maybe, for some people, right? Because what do you say? Well, you say your name, okay? Your role, right? So in your case, you say your name, you have to say that, especially the two of you are going to be doing the presentation together. So the person who is going to introduce themselves first has to say, "My name is, I am part of team, blah, blah, blah. We are a team of 10 students. I am the captain of the team. I am the leader of the team. We are from blah, blah, blah school. Most of us are M3, M1 to M3 students in the science program, or whatever it's called in your school. And when you start, again, more formal. Informal, you could say, "I'm Carlos." Easy, right? But in a more formal way, you want to, again, similar to the welcoming language. So you might say, "Let me introduce myself. I am," da, 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 da. Or you might say, "My name is, I am here as the," so if you want to use this for your team, you could say, my name is, and I am here as the captain of team blah 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 from blah 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 school. Okay. Or my name is, so similar again, I'm a student at school, I'm M6. I am the captain of, so there's ways to do this that you organize it, but the important thing is providing the information, okay? About in your case, for your presentation, about yourselves, because you're the ones that are speaking, and about the team that you're part of, and about the role that each of you has in the team, okay? And then, this is the hardest one that often people forget to do, which is to say clearly what it is that you're going to talk about, okay? I think, did we forget who? Yeah, we forgot about number 3. So, you introduce and then you move to telling me the specifics, which were good, but what are you going to talk about? What are you going to talk about? Okay? So, it's important because remember, you know what you're going to talk about, but nobody else in that room knows what you're going to talk about. And if you don't tell them, they're going to go like, and you start talking about the details. Like when I was here and you were going through these LC or whatever abbreviations, I was like, in my head, I'm going, what are those? I don't know what those mean, right? So you have to, again, always remember, you know everything. The audience doesn't know everything. You have to teach them, okay? So you have to say what your topic is. And there are many ways, again, formal ways. If you were with a group of friends, you could say, oh, I'm going to talk about this, right? But if you're in a more formal context, you might say, because you're going to have in your booth, right, a slide. So as you can see on the screen, our topic today is whatever. Or today's topic is, or the subject of our presentation is, right? Probably, I think, in the competition, so people are going to come to your booth, right? Are they all coming are people coming, all of them at one time, or you're going to have, or there going to be groups of people that are coming to your booth? Many different groups that are going to come at different times, or you don't know yet?
The one group, but the second and third, they have another team.
Okay. So how many teams are there?
Maybe 30.
Okay. So you're probably gonna have let's say one booth, blah blah blah. So you're over here. So you're probably gonna have, because if there's 150 people, they can't all stand around. So they're probably going to be groups of people that are going to be moving from table to table, from booth. So you're going to be doing this probably a few times, right? Because the group that are going to come and then the next group is going to come, okay? So you're going to be doing this a couple of times. So again, there are ways to do it. Any of these, for example, is a good way to do it. Because you're going to have a presentation and you're going to have people coming. Probably, I would say, hi, opening, right? Welcome, I am. As you can see from the screen, we are going to talk about, right? And then you move to the next thing, right? So, saying what the topic is and relevance. Why is it important that you should listen to this? And again, this is where you're going to turn what you're really telling the audience, the people that are going to come to your booth, is this is what you're going to learn. This is what you're going to learn from us, right? So you're going to tell, why is this topic important? Why should the audience, so the people who are coming to your booth be interested in this? So you could say, my talk is relevant for those of you who are also interested in robotics because, right? Or today's topic is of particular interest to those of you who are interested in robotics. You could even say, for those of you who are not experts in robotics, this may be interesting. For example, you talked about that one of the things that you're going to learn is about the mechanics, right? So you could say, oh, for those of you who are physicists, who are physics, this is interesting, might be interesting to you because. So there's always different things that different people in your audience are going to be interested about, right? So my topic is very important to you because, right? Or by the end, this is also probably the good one, probably the best one maybe to use, which is to say, by the end of the presentation, you will be familiar with, or you will learn about the thing, about what we're talking about, right? All of these are good, but because you're gonna have an audience that's going to be mixed, right? So they're going to be maybe students from other groups, maybe coming to listen, other teachers, grandparents. This is probably because you're saying by the end, you will be familiar. If you don't know anything, you will know a little bit. If you know something about robotics, you're going to maybe know a lot more. But this way is talking to everybody, whether they know what a robot is or not, right? So you can use any of these to, to welcome your audience, all right? So this is the same thing I wrote twice. All right. One of the things that I want you to do. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna play some of these audio, and I want you. So when you're given a presentation, it's important to both speak, so to improve your speaking skills, but it's also important to improve your listening skills, because when somebody asks you a question, you have to listen before you speak, okay? One of the important things, or the things to practice that I want you to practice when you're doing these exercises, when I start giving you for next week, I want you to do this, is I want you to practice using synonyms. You know what synonyms are? Can somebody tell me what a synonym is?
Synonyms, like, I don't know how to say it.
Do you know? So, synonym are words that mean similar things. In other words, words that almost have the same meaning, not the exact same meaning. In Thai, in English, in French, no two words mean the same thing, right? Because if you think about any language, we have so many words because two words can have similar meaning, but not the same. So for example, you came to EFL from your house this morning, right? What's another way of saying that sentence without using the word came? So so the sentence for you, both of you, is I came to EFL from home. So now I want you to tell me the same sentence, but you cannot use came. So I use another word that you might know that means the same thing as came, as to come. What do you think?
Maybe I just go. Go.
Okay, I go, but actually went, because in the past tense. But yes, go. Can you think about another one? Think of that sentence in Thai, right? In Thai you would say, I would say, by EFL, right? What other word other than by would you use in Thai to say the same thing? I mean, my Thai is not very good, so I can't really think about another word, but you know more words in Thai than I do. No? Okay. It's hard. This is difficult when somebody asks you, but actually, you do this, all of us do this all the time. Like, we're always using synonyms. It's just we don't think about it. But when somebody asks you to think, then it's difficult. But I, not go, because this is, right, you know, past simple. Both of you know past simple?
Yes.
Okay. So, I went. So, came. You know what come means? If you're here, sorry. So if you're already at EFL, this is your house. If you're already at EFL, you say I came, because came means you went from the place that you were before to the place that you're now. But if you use go, it means it means that you are here. You are here, and then you're going to EFL, right? Because went. I'm gonna tell you another one that you can use. I So you know that, and I'm sure you know, what's the Thai word for this? How do you say travel? So you see, you know it in Thai already, right? This means going from here to here, or going from here to here. That's what it means. And if you think about it, or if I think about it, I can probably come up with a few more, right? But it's harder when the teacher tells you. It's even harder for the teacher, okay? Because you're going to have to think about it, okay? These are synonyms, right? They don't mean exactly the same thing, because you see here, this is to come, right? You have to be here and talk about coming from home. But if you're at home, you don't say, I come to EFL, you say, I go to EFL. But if you use this one, it doesn't really matter. You can say, oh, I travel from A to B, or you could say, I travel from B to A. These words are similar, they're synonyms, because they tell you something about what? Going from one place to another, right? And these are verbs, they're action words, but also in English, nouns have synonyms. For example, the first part of wise is W, welcome. Hi, thanks for coming. welcoming somebody is also, so welcome, use this, so you see it better. Welcoming somebody is also greeting somebody. Hi. Like you say hi to somebody who gets here. You know, if they're not here, you don't say hi, right? So these two words are synonyms. You can say, oh, so we could say wise, the first thing of wise is welcoming. But we could also say that the first part of the opening is because welcoming and greeting are the same thing. You're saying, thank you for coming today, right? So when you have synonyms, you have more words that you can use to say the same thing, okay? And one of the things that I want you to do, that I'm going to ask you to do, is I'm going to ask you to, when you find a word that you don't know in what you're reading here, I want you to circle it and then go to the dictionary and find two synonyms. Because also sometimes you see a word that you don't know, but you go to the dictionary, for example, let's just say you don't know what this means. But then you go to the dictionary and you're reading, oh, greeting. And then you go, oh, that's what this means. So sometimes it's not only that synonyms help you say something in a different way, they also help you understand the meaning of a word that you don't know, because you may know a synonym for it, except you don't know that it's a synonym for that word. Okay? So synonyms are important because they help you, instead of always saying the same word, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, you could say welcome, welcome. Or you can just say hello. Instead of saying welcome, 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 welcome. Because it gets really boring for you if you're always saying the same thing over and over. It also gets really boring for the people listening, right? So sometimes it's good to say, oh, what did you do yesterday? Oh, I went to EFL. Oh, I traveled to EFL from my house. Oh, I was at home and I went to EFL to study, right? Saying the same thing, but not always saying I went. Okay? So synonyms are going to help you because you can use them, you can substitute them for something else, okay? Because it has the same meaning or the same general meaning, okay? And it helps you avoid having to repeat things, which makes things more interesting, both for you, but more importantly for the people listening to you. So if you're explaining something about your project and maybe you repeat it in one slide and then you repeat that same thing in the other slide, you choose. You want to think about synonyms so that you say it one way in the first time, but then you explain it with different synonyms the next time, because it makes it more interesting, but also it makes it easier to understand. Maybe somebody doesn't understand what welcoming is when they hear you, but then when you explain the same thing with greeting, oh, that's what he meant. Okay? All right. Okay, why is... Oh. Oops. Okay, so for example, these are examples, but here. Happy, yes, I'm happy. I'm always happy, not really. But you could also say, I'm cheerful. Merry, like Merry Christmas. Happy Christmas, right? All of these things generally mean the same thing. The idea that, good, I'm happy, cheerful, right? Okay? All right. So we're gonna, what time is this? How many minutes we have? So I'm gonna start you with these. And what I need you to do before you leave is to give me your lines, right? We're gonna do some of these, and then I'm gonna send you this link. I'm gonna send you this PowerPoint, and you're gonna see it now. Do you know how to use PowerPoint? Okay. So when you put it, you'll be able to just click and play the sounds. Okay. So we're gonna do the first one. So I want you to listen. So I'm gonna play this twice, or at least twice. Let's start. And then I want you to listen first. Okay? And what you're gonna do here is complete the table. So these are 3 presentations. Here. Oh, there's 3 presentations. So you're gonna complete the table. I want you to listen first time. So first of all, read. You're gonna listen for the name of the presenter, the position or the function of the presenter, the topic of the presentation, and who is it for? Who's the audience? Okay? So I'm gonna play once, then I'm gonna play it again, and if you need to hear it one more time, then I'll play it again. All right? Hopefully this should work. Let's see.
Unit 1, Exercise 1, Presentation 1.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank you all for being here today. I'm glad that so many of you could come, especially since I know that this time of the year is probably the busiest for you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Don Taylor. I'm the head of logistics here at Air Spares. Logistics is a center of competency dedicated to providing you with the spare parts you need, precisely when you need them. I'm here today to present our new semi-automatic shelving system. My talk is particularly relevant to those of you who place orders for the different parts we supply.
So when you're writing it, don't worry about writing it correct. Don't worry about the spelling. Write what you hear, okay? All right? So don't worry about whether you get it right or wrong. I want you to listen and be able to identify these, and then you just write however you hear it. Okay, I'm gonna play it again.
Unit 1, Exercise 1, Presentation 1.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank you all for being here today. I'm glad that so many of you could come, especially since I know that this time of the year is probably the busiest for you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Don Taylor. I'm the head of logistics here at Air Spares. Logistics is a center of competency dedicated to providing you with the spare parts you need, precisely when you need them. I'm here today to present our new semi-automatic shelving system. My talk is particularly relevant to those of you who place orders for the different parts we supply.
One more time? Okay. Fine. This is the hardest one because, again, it's always important to read because a lot of what he's saying is not the answer to these things. He's telling us a lot more, but not everything. He says a lot of things before he says his name. He says a lot of things before he says his position. He says a lot of things before he says the topic of the presentation. And he says a lot of things before he says who is the presentation for. So you don't care about those other things. You only care about these 4 things. All right? All right, one more time.
Unit 1, Exercise 1, Presentation 1.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank you all for being here today. I'm glad that so many of you could come, especially since I know that this time of the year is probably the busiest for you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Don Taylor. I'm the head of logistics here at Air Spares. Logistics is a center of competency dedicated to providing you with the spare parts you need, precisely when you need them. I'm here today to present our new semi-automatic shelving system. My talk is particularly relevant to those of you who place orders for the different parts we supply.
All right. What's this guy's name? Young Taylor, okay? And what's his position?
The logistics or
Something about logistics, right? He's the head of logistics. Okay, good. And what's the topic of the presentation?
maybe automatic shelving system.
What do you think? Is that
System.
okay? So it's the blah 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 new semi-automatic shelving system, right? That's the thing. And who is the presentation for?
Maybe who order the part of the supply.
Yep, for people who place orders for whatever it is that they sell. Okay, so what this whole thing was the opening of a presentation, right? So how did we start? Welcome, blah blah blah, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. Da, da, da. I am. So the things that introduce himself, and so this part is, if you think about WISE, which WISE, presenter's name, is it WIS or E?
I.
Presenter's position, WIS or E? Yes, right? Because they're all about introducing himself. His name, what he does, what his position is. Okay, topic of the presentation, WIS or E?
S.
S, which means say what it is. Meaning say what the topic is, right? So this so far is S. Who is the presentation for? WIS or E?
E.
Right, because E is explain why this is important, right? And that generally means who is this going to be important to? If you make robots, is this presentation important to you?
The teacher or the audience.
No. So imagine that you're listening to this presentation. You make robots. Is this presentation about semi-automatic shelving units important to you? Is it relevant to you? No. You're a math teacher. Is this presentation relevant to you? No, of course not, right? So you, in a presentation, have to say who it's relevant for, right? This presentation is a business, right? So it's for very particular people. But in your presentation, you're gonna say, "Oh, this is relevant because you're gonna learn something about robotics." You're gonna talk about it very general, so everybody's interested. Okay? All right. Let's do the next one. All right. So here's the same. It's the same thing. So listen. I'm gonna play it again.
Presentation 2.
Okay, shall we get started? Hello everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Charlotte Best from IT. I'm a team leader. I'm happy that so many of you could make it today at such short notice. I know that you're all extremely busy at the moment, so I'd like to start with my presentation right away. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is project documentation. We're going to look closely at drafting, storing, archiving, as well as accessing documents in our new SAP system. We'll also examine the much improved handling of all project documentation as well as user rights. This is extremely important for all of us who are directly involved in international project management, right? You don't need me to spell it out. If it isn't documented, it doesn't exist.
All right, one more time.
Presentation 2.
Okay, shall we get started? Hello everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Charlotte Best from IT. I'm a team leader. I'm happy that so many of you could make it today at such short notice. I know that you're all extremely busy at the moment, so I'd like to start with my presentation right away. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is project documentation. We're going to look closely at drafting, storing, archiving, as well as accessing documents in our new SAP system. We'll also examine the much improved handling of all project documentation as well as user rights. This is extremely important for all of us who are directly involved in international project management, right? You don't need me to spell it out. If it isn't documented, it doesn't exist.
All right, what's your name? Or the presenter's name?
Um,
Charlotte something, Best, okay. And what's her position?
Team.
She is team leader in IT, right? All right, and what's the topic of the presentation?
project documentation.
Correct, project documentation. And who is it for?
I don't know what involve.
No, but the question is not what involves. It's not what, it's who. Who cares about this? You're a math teacher, do you care about that? You build robots, do you care about that?
Yeah.
Who cares about it? I mean, I don't care about it either, by the way. Were you able to know? Okay. So who cares about it is people who are involved in international project management, which is none of us. We don't care about this. Okay. So the question is not what. The question is who. Okay. All right. Oops. All right. So is how can I get this to come over here? Oh, because it's like this. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Then let's do this one, and then that'll be the end because we're already a little bit over. But so this is the same one. And you already heard this one, and what you're gonna do here is fill in the gap, the blank. Okay. If I can get this to there it is. So it's the same one that it's the first one that you already heard.
Unit 1. Exercise 1. Presentation
Somebody
1.
not? Okay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank you all for being here today. I'm glad that so many of you could come, especially since I know that this time of the year is probably the busiest for you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Don Taylor. I'm the head of logistics here at Air Spares. Logistics is a center of competency dedicated to providing you with the spare parts you need precisely when you need them. I'm here today to present our new semi-automatic shelving system. My talk is particularly relevant to those of you who place orders for the different parts we supply.
One more time.
Unit 1. Exercise 1. Presentation 1.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank you all for being here today. I'm glad that so many of you could come, especially since I know that this time of the year is probably the busiest for you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Don Taylor. I'm the head of logistics here at Air Spares. Logistics is a center of competency dedicated to providing you with the spare parts you need, precisely when you need them. I'm here today to present our new semi-automatic shelving system. My talk is particularly relevant to those of you who place orders for the different parts we supply.
All right. What's the first one?
First of all.
First of all, yeah, I mean, you can say, if you're starting the presentation, of course, the first thing you're doing is welcome, but you could easily just say, let me thank you. You don't need to say, but it sounds a little bit friendly, important, and also for the people who are remember that before he starts talking, there's people talking, right? So when people hear, first of all, then they understand that now he's starting with the first thing he's going to talk about. Okay. Now, number 2, let me introduce. Okay. What's another way to say, let me introduce myself? So what other way would you say this to somebody? It doesn't have to be formal or informal. So if you have to say to somebody, let me introduce myself, my name is, but you can't say, let me introduce myself. You have to say it in a different way.
You didn't know me. You don't know me.
No. But yeah, I don't know you. But now you have to tell me. So instead of saying, instead of me saying, let me introduce myself, my name is Carlos, you have to say this in a different way. So, my name is Carlos. So how would you say, let me introduce myself. My name is Baitong. How would you say this in a different way? Don't look at him. Just try. In Thai, if you could say this in Thai, right? Let me introduce myself. How would you say that in Thai?
Maybe in Thai don't have this one.
You have it. But you probably don't say it like this because this is very formal. But maybe you say to somebody, oh, let me tell you my name. My name is. It means those two phrases mean the same thing. Right? You could say, let me introduce myself. Oh, let me tell you my name. Right? So you could, again, to think about synonyms and different ways of saying the same thing. There's always, in every language, actually more than 2, more than 3, more than 5 ways of saying the same thing. Okay? All right. Number 3.
Present.
2. Okay. I am here today to present our new semi-automatic shelving system. What's another way? And so you can't say present. How else could you say? What's another way of saying present?
I'm here today to show our.
To show, right? You could say, I'm here today to show our new blah, 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 right? Or you could say, what else could you say? That's similar, not the same, but similar to present. You could say, I am here to tell you about our blah, 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 blah. So again, present, to show are synonyms. And in this context, present, show, tell you about, all have a similar meaning which means that you can use them here interchangeably. All right. My talk. Oh, sorry. I was going to put that there. So here you could also say talk about, right? It's a synonym. So here the word is particularly. Do you know what particularly means? Particular means something that is very specific. Okay? Like we are talking about something very specific right now. We're talking about synonyms. Okay? Not about verbs, but synonyms. Okay? So, what's another word that you could use to say my talk is particularly relevant? What's another word that means the same thing as particularly? That I just told you 3 seconds ago. Starts with an S. Specifically. So you could say, my talk is particularly. Particular means something we're talking about. This telephone, this phone, not other phones. This one. Specifically means we're talking about specifically the iPhone 11 that is very old. Okay, not about the iPhone 15. Okay, so you could say my talk is particularly, specifically, especially is another one. Specifically, you could say especially relevant. Okay, and then to those of you who place orders, and you could say, oh, sorry. So again, if you think about it, there's even another way to say place orders. Okay, okay. So I need you to give me your, what you call it, lines. Where is the stupid line here? Okay. Now, I'm gonna get one here. There we go. Okay, good. Okay, so what I am going to do, probably tonight, I'm going to send you some of these, the audio links to some of the exercises that I want you to do, okay? Now, in addition to doing these exercises, your homework for next week is to compose an opening to your presentation. So you're going to do that separately. So imagine that you're doing the presentation, you're going to go first. So you have to do whys, and you're going to go first. Okay? So you're both going to do it independently. And I want you to do an informal presentation, an informal opening, and a formal opening. Okay? The exercises that I'm going to have you do, which are these, and up to here, these are all about openings, like the ones that we just heard. And in some of them they're formal, in some of them they're informal, okay? So you're gonna do these. These all have to do with, these are all audio. So these 3 are audio. These are not audio. You just do the exercise. And then I want you to, before you can review this. This is what we talked about today. And then I want you to write you can write it, okay? So you can have it in front of you, but then when you come at the beginning of class next week, you're gonna get up, you're gonna talk, you're gonna do your informal presentation, opening and your informal opening. But you're not gonna read it. You're gonna talk. But you can have your notes. Okay? Alright. So every week I'm gonna have you practice something. We're gonna practice part of what you're gonna say. So next week we're gonna talk about what we do after the opening, what else you're gonna tell the audience that they need to know before you start even talking about your robot. Okay? Alright. Are we done? Yes, we're over. Right? Classes till 10:30. Yeah, we're over 15 minutes. Alright. Okay. Oh, did you find out how long the presentation? So when you're at the presentation and the groups are coming to your booth, did you find out how long?
In the booth, maybe 5 to 10 minutes.
So you already know that you can't say a lot. 5 to 7 minutes, it means that you can probably say, after you do opening, you can probably say 3 things about. Okay? Alright.
So,
Oh, last thing. When you're doing the exercises, circle the words that you don't understand. Use an English dictionary, 2 synonyms for each of those words that you don't understand. You just write them on the, or actually, you should have if you have a notebook, what I want you to do is in your notebook, write the word that you don't understand and 2 synonyms next to it. Okay? Alright, see you not next week. There's no class next week. So the week after. So you have 2 weeks to do all this. Okay? Alright.
goodbye.
Bye. Have a good one. Oh, that's what it was. Whoops.